Joshua, chapter 15. The allotment for the tribe of Judah, according to its clans, extended down to the territory of Edom, to the desert of Zin in the extreme south. Their southern boundary started from the bay at the southern end of the Dead Sea, crossed south of Scorpion Pass, continued on to Zin and went over to the south of Kadesh Barnea. Then it ran past Hezron up to Adar and curved around to Karka. It then passed along to Asman and joined the Wadi of Egypt, ending at the Mediterranean Sea. This is their southern boundary. The eastern boundary is the Dead Sea as far as the mouth of the Jordan. The northern boundary started from the Bay of the Sea at the mouth of the Jordan, went up to Beth Hogla and continued north of Beth Araba to the stone of Bohan son of Reuben. The boundary then went up to Debir from the valley of Acre and turned north to Gilgal, which faces the pass of Adumim south of the gorge. It continued along to the waters of En Shemesh and came out at En Rogel. Then it ran up the valley of Ben Hinnom along the southern slope of the Jebusite city, that is, Jerusalem. From there it climbed to the top of the hill west of the Hinnom Valley at the northern end of the valley of Rephaim. From the hilltop the boundary headed toward the spring of the waters of Nephtoah, came out at the towns of Mount Ephron and went down toward Bala, that is, Kiriath Jearim. Then it curved westward from Bala to Mount Seir, ran along the northern slope of Mount Jearim, that is, Kesalon, continued down to Beth Shemesh and crossed to Timnah. It went to the northern slope of Ekron, turned toward Shikkeron, passed along to Mount Bala and reached Jabneel. The boundary ended at the sea. The western boundary is the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. These are the boundaries around the people of Judah by their clans. In accordance with the Lord's command to him, Joshua gave to Caleb son of Jephunneh a portion in Judah, Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron. Arba was the forefather of Anak. From Hebron Caleb drove out the 3 Anakites, Sheshai, Ahiman and Talmai, the sons of Anak. From there he marched against the people living in Debir, formerly called Kiriath Sepher. And Caleb said, I will give my daughter AKSAH in marriage to the man who attacks and captures Kiriath Sepher. Othniel son of Kenaz, Caleb's brother, took it, so Caleb gave his daughter AKSAH to him in marriage. One day when she came to Othniel, she urged him to ask her father for a field. When she got off her donkey, Caleb asked her, What can I do for you? She replied, Do me a special favor. Since you have given me land in the Negev, give me also springs of water. So Caleb gave her the upper and lower springs. This is the inheritance of the tribe of Judah, according to its clans. The southernmost towns of the tribe of Judah in the Negev toward the boundary of Edom were Kabzeel, Eder, Jagur, Kena, Dimona, Adada, Kadesh, Hazer, Ithnan, Ziph, Telem, Bealoth, Hazer Hadada, Kiriath Hezron, that is, Hazer, Ammon, Shema, Malada, Hazar Gada, Heshman, Beth Pelet, Hazar Shul, Beersheba, Biziathiah, Bala, Iam, Ezem, Eltalad, Kezel, Hormah, Ziklag, Madmanna, Sansana, Leboth, Shillim, Ain and Rimmon, a total of 29 towns and their villages. In the western foothills, Eshtael, Zorah, Ashna, Zanoah, En-Ganim, Tapua, Enam, Jarmuth, Adullam, Soko, Azekah, Sharaim, Adathaim, and Gedera, or Gederothaim, 14 towns and their villages. Zenan, Hadasha, Migdal-Gad, Dilean, Mizpah, Joktheel, Lachish, Bosketh, Eglon, Cabin, Lamas, Kidlish, Gederoth, Beth Dagon, Naamah, and Makkedah, 16 towns and their villages. Libnah, Ether, Ashan, Iftah, Ashnah, Nezib, Keilah, Akzib, and Mareshah, 9 towns and their villages. Ekron, with its surrounding settlements and villages, west of Ekron, all that were in the vicinity of Ashdod, together with their villages, Ashdod, its surrounding settlements and villages, and Gaza, its settlements and villages, as far as the Wadi of Egypt and the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. In the hill country, Shamir, Jadar, Soko, Danna, Kiriath Sanna, that is, Debir, Anab, Eshtemo, Enim, Goshen, Holon, and Jailo, 11 towns and their villages. Arab, Dumah, Eshan, Janim, Beth Tappuah, Aphekah, Humta, Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, and Zir, 9 towns and their villages. Maon, Carmel, Ziph, Jeddah, Jezreel, Jokdeam, Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 towns and their villages. Halhul, Beth Zur, Gedor, Merith, Beth Anath, and Eltekon, 6 towns and their villages. Kiriath Baal, that is, Kiriath Jearim, and Rabbah, 2 towns and their villages. In the wilderness. Beth Arba, Middin, Sakaka, Nibshan, the city of salt, and En-Gedi, 6 towns and their villages. Judah could not dislodge the Jebusites, who were living in Jerusalem. To this day the Jebusites live there with the people of Judah. Joshua, chapter 16. The allotment for Joseph began at the Jordan, east of the springs of Jericho, and went up from there through the desert into the hill country of Bethel. It went on from Bethel, that is, Luz, crossed over to the territory of the Archites and Ataroth, descended westward to the territory of the Japhletites as far as the region of Lower Beth-horon and on to Gezer, ending at the Mediterranean Sea. So Manasseh and Ephraim, the descendants of Joseph, received their inheritance. This was the territory of Ephraim, according to its clans. The boundary of their inheritance went from Ataroth Adar in the east to Upper Beth-horon and continued to the Mediterranean Sea. From Migmethath on the north it curved eastward to Tanath Shiloh, passing by it to Genoa on the east. Then it went down from Genoa to Ataroth and Nara, touched Jericho, and came out at the Jordan. From Tappuah the border went west to the Kana ravine and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the Ephraimites, according to its clans. It also included all the towns and their villages that were set aside for the Ephraimites within the inheritance of the Manassites. They did not dislodge the Canaanites living in Gezer. To this day the Canaanites live among the people of Ephraim but are required to do forced labor.